What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. I'm on my morning walk. It's nice to be able to come outside and just walk and breathe the fresh air and absorb the quietness and peace that Africa has to offer, right? And today I want to talk about a video that you guys are going to watch. You're going to see some Caribbeans make their pilgrimage back to Africa. And you're going to see the emotional response that happens when they land. And it's something that can't be explained until you actually come here, right? And first, let's take a look at this view first. I'm going to give y'all a good look before we get to talking. All right, let's go. All right, so what I want to explain to people is there's several reasons why you can come here, right? But I think one of the main reasons why every African person should pilgrimage back to Africa. And when I say pilgrimage, I mean basically just come on a vacation, right? And the reason why I think it's so important is because our bodies are a continuous vessel for our ancestors. In your DNA lies partially the spirits of your ancestors. In the spirit realm, they live vicariously through us. You see, my ancestors speak through me. Every word that come out of my mouth is coming from and sourced by the thousands of ancestors that came before me, that use my body to speak to us, you know, in this realm from the spirit realm. And a lot of people ask me, how did I even end up here, right? How did I end up out here in a kitty state in Nigeria? Hello. Good morning. And you see, my story is like many other stories. I trace myself back to this particular portion of Africa. I'm in the approximate area where my ancestors were taken. And I feel, as a descendant of those who sacrificed their life for me, who died for me, to bring them back home to where they came from before they were forcefully taken. And I wanted to take it a step further, and I wanted to establish myself in my ancestors' home and build and commune with those people. Full circle. I feel like I owe it to my ancestors. The same way we give props to, Christians give props to Jesus, as if that mythological character is your ancestor. The same way the Hebrew Israelites, right, give reverence to, the tribes of Judah, and how they talk about how they were stolen, they left their land, and they're supposed to return, all that. See, all those are stories, made up stories. We have a real story that's just as significant, if not more significant, that's just as horrible as the story that you believe in the Bibles, right? In your Torahs and your Qurans. All those stories obviously galvanize with us because it seems very familiar seeing how we in real life, and we can account for it, have went through the same thing. You see, just like in the story in the Bible, Jesus was persecuted. He was beat up. He was maimed. He was spit on. He was disrespected. That's the same thing that happened to the black man, right? The same thing happened to the black man. And the whole time that was going on, he still stayed in his frame. He was still a man of God. He was still peaceful, right? Doesn't that sound like us? Aren't us African people really still peaceful, even though all these people have done these harmful things to us, right? In the mythological story of the Jews, right? In the story, the false story, because it's not actually true, the Jews were supposedly enslaved by the Egyptians and meant to build Egypt's great structures, which in real life, it was Africans who built those great structures, and they were not slaves. They were employees. They were workers, right? And there's proof to that. Undeniable proof to that. But based off the narrative that wants to be told, the Jews were captured and stolen, taken into a foreign land to build their great nations. And then all they wanted to do is leave and go find a place of their own, right? When we African Americans were taken and captured from our home, made to build great nations, right? And all a lot of us want to do is go home. But there's a lot of Africans who don't want to go home. They want to stay in Egypt, right? Because they're comfortable. They're comfortable with their life. They're comfortable with the stresses. They're comfortable with the trauma and drama. They don't want to get up. They don't want to move, right? Or they just can't. Most people just can't. That's the honest truth. Most people around the world don't have enough finances to travel. Why? Because of the system the white man created. The system that keeps you down. The system that keeps you working continuously like a slave. Because we're all slaves in America. White folks are slaves. White folks have always been slaves to their own people. And we're slaves. And what I'm saying is, it's time for those who are willing, those who truly are tired of the way things are, to make a change, to go home to your birthright. You see, Israel, that place that you have a lot of people that want to go to, that's not even Israel. That's not Israel. That was made in 1940 by America and Britain. That was one of the many choices they wanted to put that base, because that's what it is. It's a base for strategic, is a strategic location for shipping, because they don't want to go around Africa, because Africa's humongous. It's about 4 times bigger on that map than any map that you see. It's about 4 times bigger. Just imagine that. And Europe is tiny. Asia's tiny. You can fit all of that in Africa and still got space for the rest of the world. That's how big Africa is, right? It's hard to imagine. But we come from Eden. This is Jerusalem, basically, by another name, the Nuri. This is your homeland. This is the land of milk and honey. This is the spiritual center of the world, as we are the most spiritual people in the world. Think about it. Like Jesus, we accept everybody, no matter what. Like Jesus, we black people, we bring everybody in to be family. Like Jesus, we can forgive everybody, and we continue to be Christ-like, as we still have to accept the disrespect for ungrateful POCs and ungrateful Europeans who don't care about our contributions to society. If it wasn't for us and our spiritual prowess, our spiritual being, how boring would the world be? If you take away all of our accomplishments, take away all of our sermons, you take away all of our magical music, you take away all of our soulful energy that we create, utilizing the resources from the earth to consume. Only we pull out the soul when we manifest within this nature, and everybody knows it. That's why they can't leave us alone, like Jesus. All right? But the thing is, Israel ain't home, it's West Africa. And the thing is, as an African American, even if you don't even know that you want to come to Africa, if you were to come to Africa, if you would land in West Africa, South Africa, it doesn't even matter. Even though we come from West Africa, West and Central Africa, it doesn't matter. If you land here, once your black feet hit the ground, once your feet touches this red dirt you've been looking at on TV, as they use this red soil that I'm walking on right now to denigrate and disrespect your brothers and sisters, to make it look like it's dirt, when in actuality, it's the richest soil in the world that will provide for you and your family forever. There's more nutrients in this soil than any place in the world. Once you put your feet and you plant your feet into the soil that grew the roots of your ancestors, that's when you'll wake up completely. See, a lot of you guys are woke, but you're not woken up all the way, because you have not put your feet in this dirt. You haven't smelled this air. You haven't had the raindrops fall onto your face from this water that satiates us. You haven't brought your ancestors back to Africa, because they never chose to leave, you understand? They never chose to leave. They didn't have the option. African Americans and Caribbeans and Afro-Latinos are the most unique people on the planet. Nowhere ever has a group of people ever been displaced like this in human history, with such a vast difference. Many people have been moved around the world before by tyrant nations. This happened, but nowhere have people been moved the way we were moved, to such a far off land. And yet still we thrive and survive. And we make that land our own. We can do that anywhere. We can do it anywhere. But I'm not saying you have to come and live. Get money. What I'm saying is you need to come home. Bring your ancestors home. You owe it to them. The Muslims, no matter where they are, they will go to Saudi Arabia and go walk around the rock, the big square thing, right? They'll pilgrimage there because it's their duty. A Muslim must go there once, at least in their lifetime, right? Christians, they go to the fake Israel and they look at all the fake props that they put up for tourism. And they go there and thinking they're seeing pieces of Jesus cloth and all that stuff, all that made up European stuff they threw out there, calling them relics to make millions of dollars off people who want to legitimately pilgrimage back to the origins, to the land of Christianity. Well, we African people, like I continue to say, we're more than just characters in the Bible. We are the Spirit itself. And this is the spiritual homeland. And you should be obligated, you should feel obligated to at least once in your lifetime put your black feet, put your toes in this red soil, to smell this fresh air, to have the clouds drop life-giving rain upon your head. That's what you should do that one time. And I'm trying to tell you, something's going to happen to you. And the only way to explain it is the Matrix movie. When you unplug, you don't truly unplug until you come here. And you'll start to cry and you won't even know why. It'll happen. And if you're a dude, you'll say it's windy outside. You know, a little breezy out there, you know, something got in your eye. But if you're a woman, you won't let it go. But something is released. When you come home and you release your ancestors will legitimately leave you and come home. And when you get back on the plane and go back to America, go back to the Caribbean, you'll feel lighter. You'll feel more complete. You'll feel accomplished. You would have done something in your life that was worthy, that was of note. You would have successfully traveled back to Africa and taken your ancestors, the ones who were snatched, and the most unfortunate ones, the ones who were born in America and never knew freedom, the ones that lived their entire life and knew nothing but slavery, the ones that never tasted the freedom, that never were able to fight back, because there was at least one or two generations that knew nothing of freedom, knew nothing of Africa, only whispers and stories by their grandmamas and their grandfathers. Now we have an opportunity to take them back, to let those ones who never had an opportunity to put their dark feet on the soil because they was too busy sowing the soil for the enemy. Now you have an opportunity to take them back to Africa so they can enjoy and they can commune with the spirits on this side. And they can rest completely. So for your ancestors' sake, the ones who really died for you, the ones who really sacrificed for you, the ones who really endured for you, from the ones that came on those ships, from the ones that knew nothing but the 13 colonies, or knew nothing but this new America. Those are the ones. And after that, you have your ancestors and your elders who never had opportunity to come to Africa because there was no way to get there. No planes, no boats was going to take them there. No passport was going to allow. No white institution was going to allow them to go home. Only a few got lucky to go back to Liberia. But even when they got to go back to Liberia, they had to take white supremacy with them. They had to be tools of white supremacy, unknowingly and knowingly, in Liberia, causing a situation that was unfortunate. But even so, those people are turned around and they're still luckier than most. But now, we have an opportunity to go back to Africa on our terms. We can go back to Africa in style. We can go back to Africa as free black people, as Africans. And when we land here, we don't have to be tools of white supremacy. We can be ourselves with our people. And then we can learn. And I understand that some people are upset because, yes, nations fought nations, and that's how we ended up here. Because we were fighting each other. We were divided because one king probably, was, mad at the other king for whatever reason they were fighting. Whatever reason people fight. But you guys also need to take in consideration that during that time, everybody was fighting. Feudal Japan was fighting each other. Yet we see that on TV and we don't see We don't see there's a problem with Japanese people get along now, even though they have a history of fighting and killing each other. The Europeans are fighting and killing each other right now. The Indians, they've been invaded 200 times. The original Indians were black East Africans. Now look at them. They've been invaded by all those Caucasians. And they still have divisionists. They're still divided. They're still fighting, but they're all Indian, at least to a certain extent. And yes, we're Africans. Yes, our division is the reason why we're separated, why we got taken advantage of. That's true. But we're brothers and sisters, and brothers and sisters fight. Brothers and sisters go to war. They don't make us not brothers and sisters. It's time for you to let it go. Yes, some of your African cousins who were not your brothers and sisters at the time because y'all were fighting captured you. There were some bad people, some criminals. There's always been criminals who didn't care about their people. But that doesn't change the fact that these are your people. Doesn't change the fact that Africans are your brothers and sisters. And it doesn't change the fact that in the grand scheme of things, we have to work together. We have to be together. We have to unite. You see, Pan-Africanism is actually a new thing because we weren't Pan-African before. We allowed guns and magical sticks that can kill people and foreign objects to sway us, to take us out of our frame, to distract us, right? But now that we know better, we can do better. So it's time for us to actually unite. And one of the best ways to do that is to come home on your own accord. It doesn't matter if there's ignorant Africans who call you names. There's 1.4 billion Africans. Do you think that 1.4 billion Africans are all going to be friends? Let me ask you, do you get along with all 50 million African Americans? Good morning. Do you get along with all 50 African Americans? Are you brothers and sisters with all 50 million African Americans? I don't think so. Even amongst our tribe, amongst our ethnic group, the African Americans, we fight each other. We have gangs still that persist to this day. For what reason, I do not know. I have no idea why we still have gangs and gang culture and dividing lines on white people's land. We fight over streets that don't belong to us. We fight over neighborhoods that don't belong to us. We fight over colors that belong to everybody. No longer are the days of people fighting to survive because they're selling drugs to take care of their communities. This ain't the 1920s. We're not fighting so we can sell moonshine across state lines. This ain't the 1930s. Right now, our youngins are fighting because they think it's cool. Because they saw people my age do it. They saw my elders do it because they were put in situations that they didn't know that they were being put in. They were being manipulated. Now our children are being manipulated by social media, fighting each other for the sake of fighting each other. Now they do drive-bys and kill each other because of a song that was created. Instead of pushing weight, instead of a cocaine deal going bad, instead of a crack deal going bad, we talking about a song people are making, putting that energy, wrapping that energy around them, and inviting death and destruction in their communities based off what they think is cool, because the people that people that make the money off of it promotes it. How many more black boys got to die and we call them rapper dies? How many? For what? Because of a diss track. They dissing each other for the sake of dissing each other for clout. Because that's what they think they're going to make money. But guess who make money? The fake Jews. The fake Jews are the ones who make the money off our death continuously. The same ones that bought those slave ships, that financed those slave ships to bring us over here, are still making money off their former slaves. They're called rappers. While they put that death and destruction in our communities. Our children don't know nothing but gangster culture. Our children don't know nothing about death and destruction. They think that's what it is to be a warrior. That's what it is to be a man. It's to be a gangster, to be a thug, to be a vagabond, to be a danger to your community. That's what they think is actually being a man, being tough. They think they're warriors, but they're actually cowards and slaves. And it's up to us, our generation. We let them down because we showed them how to do it. Now that's all they know. So now it's time for us to do something different. It's time for them to show them that to be a man should inspire for peace, to inspire for spirituality, better understanding, education, right? loving your brothers and sisters, being able to be around a group of other males and be unified, to be able to have a good time and not want to shoot up the club, not want to shoot up the neighborhood, not want to do drive-by because your feelings is hurt, because somebody called you a name, because one of your friends laughed because somebody got one on you. You understand? Not because some Jewish person financed a diss track, right, for one black boy to talk shit about another black boy, and then another Jewish person financed the diss track to get that black boy to talk about that black boy. And then once those black boys kill each other, both the two Jewish people make more money because now they can sell your CDs for more because you're in post-mortem. You understand what I'm saying here? We got to do better. The false Jews are still attacking the real Jews for all intents and purposes, if you understand what I'm saying. Even though semantically Jews is not what we're called. We're African. And Africa was not named by no white person. The reason why y'all believe that is because y'all don't quite understand and comprehend actual history. The Roman general that defeated Hannibal attached the word Africanus to his name as a badge of honor that he defeated that African army finally. That's what that meant. Africa was always called Africa, always called Ethiopia. Those are our names, our terms. Africa is our name. Alkebalan is our name. Ethiopia is our name. Moor is our name. We have thousands of languages in Africa. So you can say black thousands of different ways. You can say African thousands of different ways. That's where education comes in, so you can have a better understanding. We have to stop thinking simplistically. Think on a more high level. Y'all know we have the capability, because even when we adopt the European language, we expand it because European languages they're too basic for us. That's why we have to add words. They're too basic for us. We can't fully express ourselves utilizing the basic languages of these European languages. But then the Europeans get mad and they call it ghetto, right? They call it all kinds of names. Everything we do when it comes to excellence, they denigrate it because they're jealous because they can't do it. You have to understand, we need to use our brains and readjust how we are. And one of the best ways to do that is to pilgrimage back to Africa and rejuvenate yourself in your original habitat. Every time I come to Africa, one of the very first compliments I get is, man, you look so much fresher. Man, you look so much better. You just something about you. And I'm like, well, damn, was I fucked up back in America? But I understand what they mean because it's automatic. I'm telling you, from the food that you eat, I can eat all day and I can't get fat. There are people who are fat here, but guess what? They carry their weight very well. And they're fat, but they're shapely. They're not morbidly obese. They can get up and down. They can dance. They can move. You know, African people are naturally heavy, thick. Our women are naturally thick and heavy, big. But yet we use white standards to denigrate our women for their natural shapes. You understand? You need to come here to see who you really are. That way other people can stop telling you who you are. You need to know. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to have faith. You don't need to just believe. You need to know. It's one thing to have faith. It's another thing to know. It's one thing to have belief. It's another thing to know. Once you know, that's it. That's why I was telling you, you're an African. I don't know how many damn Igbo-looking people sit there and tell me they're not African. I'm looking right at an African and tell me they ain't African. I don't know how many Yoruba-looking people I'm looking at and they say they not African, and I'm looking at them, they ain't African. They say they not African, but they clearly African. It's shameful. It's sad, and it's not even their fault. They're just a product of their environment, the product of the people around them, the product of the educational system that they were forced to live under, to utilize. That's what it was, right? So listen, you African people need to get on a plane and come to Africa just for a vacation. I'm not saying move. Ain't nothing wrong. You can stay in America. There's nothing wrong with America. We built that. We can keep that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is come visit. Come visit. Just come visit Africa. And you'll see what I mean. And all you have to do is type in African American goes to Africa. And you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see that spiritual change. Something happens, I'm trying to tell you. And yes, you can have a bad experience. You can have a bad experience at anything, guys. All right? You can have a bad experience at anything. And like I said before, I can give two shits about any continental African trying to tell me I'm less than. Because they are also brainwashed by the same white European. Some of them. Now, I have not encountered one yet in the 8 years I've been coming to Africa, I've not encountered one African. Now, of course, it's just my experience. I've not encountered one African that rejected me since I've been here, ever. Right? Now, you may run into the Africans that left Africa, right? They have a totally different attitude. The ones that left Africa, they live in the UK, they may live in America, and they may have attitudes. But guess what? Their attitudes is very Western if you don't notice. They come over here and they get with the white man and they become aggressive and ignorant like the white man towards their black brothers and sisters, if you not noticed. The ones that you guys are fighting are the Africans that are in America and the UK, right? In the Western world. Those are the ones. You're not encountering these Africans. These are your brothers and sisters that's still here. The ones that can't get up and go to America the same way you can't get up and just go to Africa. The ones that work every day and don't have a special visas and don't have special accommodations and didn't have the luck of being born rich or didn't have the luck of being born with connections. You got some bad hombres out there who are in fact African, and they will tell you you're not African, you're not this, you're not that. As an African, I don't give a fuck about them, because there's no African that can tell you that this ain't your birthright. That's the great thing about it. They can't tell you shit. With their opinions mean nothing. Because you are Africa. You have just as much right. You African Americans and you African Caribbeans have just as much right to this continent as an African born here. Period. And then the African people born here will tell you that in your face, not to listen to any of those ignorant Africans that chose to go somewhere else. They will tell you that in your face. So don't let any ignorant ass continental African disparage you from coming to your continent. This is your birthright. Your ancestors gave this to you, and you can come get a piece of this. And the people here, the people that never left, they will embrace you, they will honor you, and they will facilitate you. And I'm talking in general, because you got some pieces of shit here too, because we're all human beings, and you got to keep that in mind, that humans collectively have human nature. So you also do your due diligence and don't be naive. Would you go to New York and just fall for any scam on the side of the road? No. Would you go to Vegas and fall for any scam on the street? No. Would you go to LA and fall for any scammer? Because there's a black guy that come from the same country you that's waiting to scam you when you go to any state. And you know it. You go to Mexico, as soon as you get off the plane, there's Spanish people trying to scam you there. Everywhere you go, there's scam. You go to India, the whole country trying to scam you. The food trying to scam you, trying to kill you and everything. Right? You go to Japan, there's scammers. In Washington, D.C., we got Japanese monks trying to scam people right on the mall. There's always people trying to scam or take advantage of other people. And African people and their scamming is no different from anybody else in their scamming. It's people who decide to do that to take advantage of naive people. Just don't be naive. Do your best not to be a naive. Look past that. Enjoy your birthright. Come get some of this. Anyway, that's all I want to say for now, guys. Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
More than 12 million Africans were kidnapped and shipped to the Americas in the transatlantic slave trade from the 16th to the 19th century. And this includes over 2 million who died during the crossing. Northern Ghana was one focus of the trade in human lives. Captives from communities in the north, such as Nok in modern-day Togo, were brought to satellite slave markets like Sakwili. Then they were marched to Salaga slave market, where merchants would buy them and take them to the coast, where they left through points like the door of no return. But centuries later, that door is being flung open in the other direction. What began in 2019 as the year of return, celebrating and welcoming the Black diaspora. DW correspondent Maxwell Suk accompanied one group during their emotional homecoming. He takes up the story in the caves of Nok.
They are yearning to connect with their ancestors. Shamin, John, and Marian are the descendants of enslaved Africans. Born in the Caribbean, they have come from New York to northern Togo.
We can get the scent of our ancestors after all these years. It's mind-boggling.
Nok is the place where the Moba people took refuge from the Chokoses. They were slave raiders pursuing their neighbors to sell them to European merchants. Shamin is from Trinidad. For her, it is an overwhelming reunion.
I'm a witness of what occurred. I accept, I understand, and I'm not going to be silent. I'm here, and I'm here for a reason. I'm here to let my ancestors know, even in the spirit realm, that I do appreciate. And they're not alone. The battle is not won, but the fight has begun, and that the world knows that we are a people, and we have an origin, and we are entitled, that's our right, to be who we are supposed to be.
To find out more, I have come to Salga, a northern town with history of trade. It's long been famous for commerce, selling things like salt, kola nuts, and human beings.
Africans who were abducted from communities around Nog were enslaved after their capture and forced to march in chains for days to the slave market in Salaga. Those who died on the way were cast aside, whilst those who survived the journey were paraded like animals for European and American merchants to select.
Chains, shackles, and Dennis guns are relics of slavery kept by residents in this modest museum. Slavery was only abolished here in the late 19th century after British colonies invaded.
So you were wanting slaves or wanting a slave to buy, and of course a stronger slave to buy, you needed to come to Salaga. If you closely observe the tattoos or the marks, you see that they're coming from different areas.
Outside of Salaga town, oral tradition says historic slave wells are another relic of the trade. They were used to wash slaves who had been brought to the Salaga slave market. The wells were renovated by the Ghana Tourism Authority in 2024. Some even drink from them and say they connect to the souls of their ancestors who got divided by the brutal slave trade.
Slavery started the division among Africans, if you think carefully. They were living together as kingdoms and united better. Now, it's difficult for people to trace their ancestors because they've been separated from their roots for generations.
But decades later, the descendants of slaves are finding their way home. Nakpanduri is one of the communities that was decimated by slave raiding. John Francis feels he has been reunited with his bloodline, and he has photographs to prove it.
This is a picture of my grandfather. And when I see my grandfather and I see you and your brother Conlan, you all look like my uncles.
For many returnees, DNA analysis has confirmed the close affinity they feel. Corinne Lewis is from Trinidad. Her results suggest a clear link back to her roots in Africa.
My daughter actually did a DNA analysis, and it proved that we were 78% African. It even went on to break down the regions that we were from. And in 2019, I had the opportunity to come to Ghana, and I felt like this was home. This was where I came from. This was my beginning.
A long journey back to the caves of Nok, where the descendants of enslaved Africans can finally feel a closeness with their ancestors. For them, it is a relief, a restoration after years of loss.
Wait. Before you go, for all my subscribers and philanthropists out there, I'm building a solar power community water bowl system in Nigeria. It's going to cost between $5,000 and $6,000. I'm trying to raise money. If you want to participate and help me build this solar power water system, please donate to the Cash App and put solar water in the notes. Solar water in the notes. I'll put PayPal, Stripe, and Zelle. Anyway, thank you. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out. Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.